Hi, I'm Geneva, and I'm an educator at the Smithsonian's National Zoo and Conservation Biology Institute. I'm here at the American Trail. I'm about to meet Rebecca, the curator of the American Trail and Amazonia exhibit spaces. These spaces are home to many animals like seals, beavers, frogs, birds, guinea pigs, ravens, eagles, fish, and otters. As part of her unusual career, Rebecca manages the teams that care for all of these animals, and she has many responsibilities to keep these areas running and both people and animals feeling happy. Before we meet Rebecca, there are 3 things I can tell you about her career. 1, she works with over 150 different species, but the most important one is Homo sapiens. 2, she has to be very organized and dedicated. And 3, she started out as a volunteer and has grown a great career. Let's meet Rebecca and get the inside scoop on her career.
Hi, I'm Rebecca, a curator at the Smithsonian's National Zoo and Conservation Biology Institute. My job is to manage the keepers and the animals in the American Trail and Amazonia units. The main responsibility of a curator is making sure that the keeper staff have exactly what they need to take care of their animals to the best of their ability. Some other things that I'm responsible for are maintaining our yearly budget, hiring new staff, planning what animals we have in the future, coordinating animal shipments, communicating with our veterinary staff to make sure that our animals have the best possible welfare, developing educational programs, and helping to maintain all of our facilities, exhibits, and enclosures.
How are keepers and curators' jobs different?
When you're a keeper, you get to directly care for the animals and work with them every single day. As a curator, I don't get to see the animals as much as I used to. It really is one of the favorite part of my jobs. And when I get called in because maybe a keeper has called out sick for the day or we're a little bit short-staffed, I really love being able to get in and work with the animals again.
What does your normal workday look like?
Each morning, I start my day by reading the keeper reports from the day before. That lets me know anything that happened that I need to check on first thing in the morning. I also talk to the keepers and make sure all the animals are okay. Then I check my calendar and make sure that I don't have any upcoming meetings or any tours that I need to be a part of. If my calendar is free, I spend a lot of my time going through emails, talking to vets. I do try to walk through American Trail and Amazonia at least once a day and get FaceTime with the keepers because I think that's important. And then the rest of my time is spent managing budgets, making purchases, talking with other institutions about animals that we might be sending or animals that we might be receiving, talking with our education team about upcoming programming, and then also general cleaning and anything else I can do to make sure that the facilities and the buildings look as good as they can.
What is the best part of your career?
The best part of my day is working around the animals and their keepers. I especially enjoy getting the chance to see keepers working with their animals and the relationships that they've developed. This might be training a new behavior or completing a medical exam. I also really love keepers getting excited about making a new exhibit or a new enclosure and putting an animal in it, and seeing the connections that keepers have with visitors. Maybe they inspire a kid to want to become a zookeeper one day. That's a really great part of my job.
What skills are helpful for being a curator?
Working in a zoo is a great way to connect with animals and people. You need to enjoy working with others and be a good problem solver, be able to communicate well, and be really dedicated to be a curator. Curators sometimes have to come in on holidays or weekends. They might have unusual hours, and they might be called in the middle of the night to deal with emergencies. You need to be able to be prepared for all of those events that might happen.
Can you tell us more about working with otters?
Otters have big personalities and they love to play. They're probably some of the most playful species that I've ever worked with. As other mammals tend to age, they may get a little less interested in enrichment, but not otters. They'll play with anything, which makes them a lot of fun to work with, but also very challenging because you're always trying to find new ways to enrich them.
How do the zoo's otters help with research?
Our otters in the zoo provide very valuable data that researchers can use to compare to wild otters. Our otters provide a way for researchers to compare the diets of wild otters to those under human care. Researchers can look at the poop of wild otters and try to figure out what they're eating. Our otters also create latrine sites in their exhibits, just like wild otters do. A latrine site is an area where otters go pee and poop. And because our otters are recorded via wildlife cameras, researchers can see how often they visit these latrine sites, how many otters are in an area, and what kind of behavior they display when they're there.
What was your pathway to this career?
I have my degree in wildlife and fisheries science, and my first job out of college was as an environmental educator at a small nature center. When I was there, I got to combine my passion for working with animals and educating the public. Then I moved to National Zoo and I worked in the commissary, helping prep food for the animals and deliver it. While I was working in commissary, I was also volunteering on my days off at American Trail because that's the area that I really wanted to work in. I was offered a keeper position and started in American Trail in 2007, and I have been connected to the trail ever since. I've had the pleasure of being able to work my way up from volunteer to keeper to assistant curator and now curator at the National Zoo.
What sparked your interest in this career?
I grew up loving animals and had lots of pets when I was younger, so I knew that I wanted a career working with animals. But it wasn't until I was in college that two zookeepers came to talk about their careers that I learned that zookeeping was even an option for me.
Thank you so much for joining me as we learned about another unusual career. I loved learning about Rebecca and her work. You can practice being a curator just like Rebecca. Work with others to complete a task or assignment. When working as a team, practice doing things that can be helpful to your teammates. Ask them what they need. Just like Rebecca keeps track of veterinary visits or animals moving to or from our zoo, you can organize or help with events. Practice keeping a calendar, organize an environmental cleanup, or plan an outdoor adventure with friends and family. I hope you liked meeting Rebecca as much as I did. I'll see you next time.